So here we have the Mammoth Exhibit at the Pacifica History Museum. So what I'd like to do now is take you down the cliff, down the rope, to the place where I first found this stuff. We're at the secret waterfall site, and we'll take a look and see the place where this all came from. All right, well, here we are at the site. This is, it's a big cliff for one thing to go down, but now we're at the secret waterfall creek. So what I'd like to do is clean up some of the trash along here and up to the waterfall, and I can show you the site where we found the mammoth bones. It's pretty awful right now. You can see how all the plastic gets stuck on any place like this where it can get stuck. So for every piece that gets stuck here, there's probably 20 that end up out in the ocean. And now right away, here's an amazing fossil. This is seashells fossil, so this is going back much farther than the mammoth era. But take a look at all those layers of seashells in there. That is a really neat piece of history right there. So as we come up the stream, you start coming across these strange old stonework and old cement pieces, which I believe come from a bridge or highway that was once directly overhead here back in the 1920s or so, before the erosion and the earthquake and everything just made life completely different here. And then you have this big rubble here. This looks to be the curb of a road. This is like carbon deposits where water flows for a long time. It creates this build. It was very similar to what the fossils look like. And I've been on a lot of wild goose chases trying to dig these bits out over the years. So I think I had found a small little piece of bone. It's not much. It's some, oh, here's a little bit more. These are pretty seriously degraded bits. They're very light. They're kind of falling apart. So these are both bones. They're very light and spongy and airy. I brought this from earlier. So this is what the tusk looks like. It's really white and chalky. It's made out of a different material. I thought this might have been tusk, but I think not now. So these are both just little degraded fragments of bone. Now it's possible they're not mammoth, but they really do appear to be from the same deposit in the same era. So you never know when you start digging. It might just be the tip of the iceberg, and it might be a great big piece. And right over here is where the tusk was sticking out of the ground when the landslide initially occurred. So this pile of dirt behind me, this is the deposit that had the mammoth in it. And it came from this cliff right above here. So you can kind of see the lay of the land here. The creek running through, the waterfall coming down. And this spot here, this is where the mammoth was embedded for 11,000 years, waiting for the ocean to catch up to it. It was probably like right in that little impression you see where the water is. So the water probably seeped enough that it led to this landslide that filled this whole basin here with dirt, and created an earthen berm that dammed the water. Right about in here is where we found the tooth. Count and I found the tooth in two pieces right about there. Over here is where we saw the vertebrae, and then I think Ellie found a hip socket at the very base of this. So this is our deposit right in here. There could be more underground here, or it could be still in the cliff or out to sea already. Only time will tell. Here's some more shells. This is a seabed at one point. So here's some more seashells embedded in fossils. They're all over here. They seem to be from kind of the same landslide as the mammoth, but from a different era entirely, but obviously from a long time ago, when this was underwater. The mammoth era, the water was far away, but there was an era before that when this was underwater. So that day in October of 2011, when I was picking up trash, this is basically what I saw right here, which turned out to be a piece of leg bone on the sand, surrounded by trash, just like this. And my first instinct was that it was a piece of mammoth, even though I knew nothing about the topic. Maybe my subconscious knew more. But I actually ended up leaving it there because there was so much trash to pick up that day. I kind of had to focus on that. But this was very similar to the piece that I found that kind of sent me on that journey to try to figure out what all this was about. So one more part I'd like to show you for this story is this spot right here, where a couple times a year we get what I've come to call extreme styrofoam events, or ESEs, where there's just so much styrofoam ends up on this beach, it's hard to believe it. And I've tried to take pictures of it to kind of capture it. It's hard to do, but one day this was just so covered in styrofoam, I brought the camera down low to the ground and I took this picture right here, which if you now Google the word styrofoam beach, is the first image that comes up. In fact, I've looked and it's now on hundreds of websites all over the world, including Arab-speaking countries and Mexico. Basically, if people want to show how bad styrofoam can be, they're now using this photograph as the way to show that. And so I feel really good to know that this picture has kind of helped sound the alarm that styrofoam is such an insidious problem that it can, cover up a beach like this. Right here, just right outside of San Francisco, this horrible kind of a scene can occur on the beach. So now we know that this is a problem, and hopefully the word's getting out there, and I just feel that that's been the purpose of me coming out here all this time. It really wasn't about finding a mammoth. It was like letting people know that there's things here that they can learn from, whether it's trash or whether it's a fossil. And I hope everybody can kind of find their own beach and their own place that they can take care of and learn about and share with the world. And I think if we do that, we'll all be living in a better place.